Recently, there was a stat that came out that said 55% of men have never done an approach in their life. Now, I'm willing to bet that this number is actually much higher because the men who did this survey, they're probably embarrassed and they probably lied and said, yes, I have done some approaches in my life. And I know this because a lot of the guys that I speak to on consultations, when I ask them, so then man, are you approaching women? They're like, yeah, sometimes, not very often though. And I say, so then, when was the last time you did an approach? Like a few years ago. Now this is because the guy's embarrassed, and I get it. Once upon a time, I was also that embarrassed guy that didn't do any approaches, that was afraid to approach. I was afraid of rejection. I was afraid that what if I mess my words up? What if she says this? What if she laughs? What if people around me see this? And look man, I completely get it, and I completely understand this way of thinking. But the reason why you think this way is because of the way your brain is wired. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to help you rewire your brain and make approaching women 10 times easier. And we do this by approaching the women to begin with who give us certain signals. When you hear the word cold approach, it means you are doing a full cold approach. They've never seen you, they know nothing about you, they've never heard you speak. The first time you walk up and say hi, that is literally the first time they've ever laid eyes on you. Now this is approaching on difficult mode, like the most difficult mode. And this is because as soon as you walk up to her, she makes a split-second judgment as to what she thinks about you. And for most guys, because they approach so infrequently, when they do finally muster the confidence to do this, or they've had a drink and they have some Dutch courage, they come across horribly, they stutter, they mumble, they sound awkward, their voice sounds all fucked up, and they basically confirm to themselves why they shouldn't approach. So what I teach my guys to do is to look for choosing signals. When a woman wants you to approach her, she will give you certain signals. We call these choosing signals. She's choosing you. And there's 3 in particular that you should look out for, because if you see these, you should definitely go and approach her. And if you don't see these, until you have more experience approaching, then maybe hang fire. Because I could sit here and say, yeah bro, just go and approach her. What are you scared of? Just go and do it. But that advice is useless, because 90% of men who don't approach, they have this fear of rejection. They have this anxiety. So simply telling somebody to go and do something they are scared of does not fix the problem. So instead, we slowly work our way up to doing the actual approach. And we start with looking for these signals. Now, signal number 1, and this is the most obvious: eye contact. Women only look at men they are interested in. And I don't mean a girl who's looking at you because you're looking at her and you're like staring at her, waiting for her to turn around and give you some attention. I mean a woman who repeatedly looks at you. Maybe you're in the gym and you catch her looking at the mirror in you, or you catch her flicking her hair back and turning around to look. Small things like this. She's basically saying, come approach me. If you see this signal, walk over there and say, hey, do you always stare at guys and not say hello? Very easy. Sign number 2. She moves herself to be in your line of eyesight. So I remember one time I was in a bar and I'm leaning against the bar. I'm here, my friend's in front of me, and there's 2 girls in front of us. So now the friend's moved out the way and now she's leaning over. So I can definitely see her. Whereas before, like her friend was blocking her, my friend was kind of in the way. So now, unless I'm looking at my friend, she's there. She's right there, right in my eyesight. And she keeps catching my eye line. And she's talking to her friend, and every so often I see her do this. She's talking away, blah blah, talking whatever girl talk they do, and then she looks at me like this and smiles and keeps looking at me. This is one of those signs where it's very obvious she wants you to approach her. Now this kind of sign that you will see, this is more for a bar or a club. You won't really get this in the gym unless she's a very confident girl and very extroverted. But if she gives you this, literally go and say hello and she'll do the work for you. The kind of woman that gives you these very easy signals, they're so interested in you, you don't have to do any work. Now, sign number 3. She bumps into you. Now women are very, very careful with the way they will touch a man, because they understand that if they touch a man, he's very likely to interpret this as a sign of interest from her. So let's say you're in the gym, you're in the bar, the club, the cafe, wherever it is, and she bumps into you and she goes, oh sorry, and she smiles at you. That wasn't a coincidence. She's literally saying, look at me. Now all of these signs are fairly obvious. They're fairly simple. But for most of you, you're actually already aware of these. These 3 signs that I've told you before. You probably could have guessed this. You're not stupid. But the thing you struggle with is knowing what to say or how to say this. So for that reason, I've created an entire free communication guide that you can use that will give you the first kickstart to be able to approach women. And it will tell you what you can say, how you can say these things, your body language, your eye contact. This will be step number 1. Step number 2, if you are really serious about this, you can schedule a free call below with me where we will go through your current challenges and I will help you overcome this. Now, of course, not everybody is ready for mentoring. Not everybody is taking this as seriously as some other guys. And you 100% should be, but I understand if you're not ready for this. So that is why I have the guide. Until the next video, guys, I will see you all later.